Chris, I always ask everyone here a few questions at the end. I'm going to ask you, if you could make a phone call to the 20-year-old Chris Voss, and I guess, I don't know where you'd be, in Kansas City back then, or maybe not even a cop yet?
20 years old, I was still in college.
Okay. If you could give him some advice, what would you tell him?
The only thing I would say is be a little nicer. Approach every challenge that every decision, every moral issue, everything that you did, everything you saw that was right. Don't change any of that, but just be a little nicer about it. I was always blunt. You don't have to give in to be nice. You don't have to be weak to be nice. Ronald Reagan fired more people than Donald Trump ever fired his whole life. Many of the same principles. Reagan is constantly threatening nuclear war with Russia, but he was nice about everything he did. Look how much farther he got. Philosophically, not terribly different. One of the first things Ronald Reagan did as American president was fire every air traffic controller in the United States when they went out on strike. Talk about, you're fired. But Reagan did the same stuff and approached it as a nice guy and ended up getting much farther. Yeah. So he didn't compromise his values. So, I'm the kind of guy, I've always been a little hard on people. Stick to your morals, approach everything the same way you did, just be a little nicer about it. That's what I tell myself.
Okay. On that same note, best advice you ever received? It could have been, when you first went in for the training, for the negotiation training. I know you said you were really impressed with that whole program that they put you through in the FBI, or it could be something you learned from a Harvard guy or anyone else. Best advice you ever received?
Wow. I got some really good advice a couple different times, and I don't know if anybody ever told me to actually follow advice. Somebody had to, at some point in time, said, seek advice and follow it. Never take advice from somebody you wouldn't trade places with. I did that a couple times. I didn't know it. I had almost no shot at becoming an FBI agent. But I went to a seasoned onboard FBI agent and said, what should I do? That made all the difference in the world. It made every difference. I had no reason to become a hostage negotiator. I went to the hostage negotiator in charge of the hostage negotiation team in New York City and said, what should I do? She told me and I did it. To this day, she said, you know what? She told me to volunteer on a suicide hotline. She told me recently, she told 1,000 people to do that, and 2 of us did it. If I hadn't sought advice from someone that I would have traded places with and followed it, I never would have become a hostage negotiator. So somewhere, someday, at some point in time, somebody had to have told me, said, seek wise counsel and then actually pay attention to it.
Right. Probably had to check your ego at the door a little bit to go do something like that.
To some degree, yeah. You have to be mentally in a mode where you have to admit you don't know. Yeah. I really don't know. I really want to know. I'm really going to do it if you tell me. And yeah, you got to get out of your own way to do that.
Last part of that question, to that 20-year-old that's out there watching us, listening to us right now, what advice do you give to them? If they just want, like you said, we're in negotiations all the time, every day, with everyone around us, whether we know it or not. What advice do you give to them if they want to, be more successful, be more empathetic, lead, still with their values, but do it in a better way?
Really, don't be in such a hurry to lay out your case. Be in a hurry to hear the other side out. That's going to save you a massive amount of time. Just because you're right doesn't mean you're going to get your way. As a matter of fact, it may get in your way because the other side will resent you being right. And then it becomes who wins, who loses things, and people will choose to not lose despite you, so to speak. It's a classic thing where the reason we have hostage negotiators is because we thought if we threatened to kill people, they'd come out, because we didn't want to die. I don't want to die, so if I threaten to kill you, you'll give in. And law enforcement found themselves killing people unnecessarily, because we surround a guy's house and say, come out or we'll kill you, and he'd say, you know what, kill me. I ain't coming out. Right. When he would have come out otherwise. Right. So find out where the other side is coming from first, and you'll find that being right is not correlated strongly with getting your way.
Whereas most people go into any negotiation, they want to fire first. They want to practice that pitch they've been thinking about all day, and they're mad. I'm gonna tell you how it is. When in fact, the strongest thing would be to come in and listen attentively.
Hear them out, man. You'd be shocked at how far you'll get.
Right.
And it'll be you get a lot farther. It'll actually be a lot more enjoyable too.